Hi friends, Marissa here with Journey on Living with Vestibular Migraine, and I'm here with my good friend Joy, my fellow Vesti. Joy and I met recently in early spring at a support group, and even though we're in different states, we had an immediate connection. We had the same diagnosis, the same doctor, the same medications, and just all these similarities. So I was like, I have to connect with this girl. So I reached out to her, and we have been talking ever since. We meet about once a week and just catch up with each other on what's happening in our vestibular journeys. And we also recently both became VeDA ambassadors with vestibular.org. So in honor of Balance Awareness Week, we wanted to do something more for the vestibular community and start a video series. Okay, so our video series that we wanted to launch is called Finding Joy in Your Vestibular Migraine Journey. And it's going to be probably about just 30 minutes, and we'll have various topics. We might have some guest speakers on. We will have more details to come with that. But again, we just wanted to give back more to the vestibular community. And Joy, would you like to tell us a little bit about why, again, we wanted to do the video series and why we're doing this?
Yeah, this is something, it's very, near and dear to our heart with what we've gone through. And we are wanting to provide hope and knowledge to the vestibular community. We're wanting to let people know you're not alone in this journey. There are people like you out there who kind of go through the same things. And it's great to talk to other people who've gone through what you're going through. Now, we are not healthcare providers. We're not giving medical advice. Please always check with your physician before stopping any new medicines. Always check with your physician or your vestibular therapist before starting or stopping new exercises. We're just kind of here to talk about the general issues that we all go through and support one another. Yeah. Marissa, would you like to kind of talk about how your symptoms first occurred, what you went through?
Sure. Yeah. So again, you can find Joy and my story on the VeDA website, vestibular.org. But we'll just kind of give a brief summary. So my diagnosis is vestibular migraine, PPPD, and chronic migraine. And my first onset was in 2011. I had always had bad headaches in college, and once I had my son, I seemed to have really bad migraines, and I was working in a stressful job environment, working long hours, and I had a 2-year-old, and it was just a lot. So I was getting really, really bad migraines. And when I was driving to my parents' house one day with a horrible migraine, I was at a light, and all of a sudden I had this sensation that I was on a ship and things were swaying side to side. And my heart just started going because I didn't know what was happening. And it was terrifying because I had my son with me. So made it to my parents' house and laid down and was thinking, this is just from the headache. It's going to be fine. I just need to rest. But I didn't know that I would wake up like that every day for the next 3 years with a constant 24/7 feeling of dizziness, feeling off, feeling drugged, difficulty concentrating, balance issues, the constant rocking feeling when I was sitting still. And back then, if you remember even, Joy, that it was called migraine associated vertigo more, and the doctors didn't know much about it back then. So seeking treatment was really difficult. I mean, they didn't know what was wrong with me. So basically, again, you can read more about my full story. I don't want to get too much into it, but since then I've had a couple remissions in between, but particularly last year, it came back with a vengeance. It was just horrible. like nothing I had experienced. And that's when I knew I needed a lot more help. So doing much better now since finding the right doctor and medication, but still in the journey here. So that's why Joy and I, again, have so much in common. So that's a little bit about my story. Joy, do you want to kind of share your journey with vestibular migraine?
Yeah, and mine started back in 2018. I had some type of stomach, it was a bacterial infection. I was going to the ER. It was horrible. I did the antibiotics, but I just felt a weird head feeling. Later on, I went to a neurologist. They just said, oh, it's occipital neuralgia. Okay, physical therapy. Still kind of felt off. My physical therapist said, well, maybe you should go to an ENT. Went to the ENT. He had me do an ENG, the VNG test, like many of you other, have had to do. Went to vestibular therapy, which seemed to help. We did some of the eye gazing. Okay, seemed to feel better. 2020 comes along, pandemic, at home, working from home, everything seemed to be fine. Fast forward to summer of 2021, my father came, was staying with us he was getting some medical treatments, and I think it just stressed me out. I started not feeling good. I lost my appetite. I was having dizzy spells. Once when I was driving, I kind of had a little spell after, so I stopped driving, stopped working. On the VeDA website, I was able to find a vestibular therapist that was able to come to me, and she suspected, she's like, I wonder if you have vestibular migraine. She's like, there's this really great doctor in Dallas. You should try him. So didn't know at the time, same doctor as you, Marissa.
Yes.
And met with him, telemed. He went over my story, diagnosed me with vestibular migraines and PPPD. Finally, a diagnosis, something to work off of, something to kind of focus on and narrow down my symptoms. And so we started with some anti-anxiety medicine. I continued the vestibular therapy. And little by little, I started getting better, walking outside, doing little things. And I'm still on my road to recovery. But it has been so wonderful just to find a doctor who finally listened to me. And, that's probably something we will discuss in our series about being an advocate for yourself, finding the right doctor, because I know we both have went through many of them.
Yes.
Like everybody else. And yeah, it has just been a lot. So did you want to kind of talk a little bit more about maybe our series and kind of what we're planning on doing?
Yes. So again, it just kind of worked out with Joy and I just having so many similarities. With her symptoms coming on in 2018, that's when mine kind of rebound. And then we both had a horrible year in 2021. And I think that just pushed us both to look for answers and just wanting more and then wanting to help others so that they're not alone in things. So we're just thinking of our series. Like I said, it'll be probably 30-minute videos. And Joy and I have so many topics. I mean, every time we talk, we're like, ooh, we could use this. We could use this, because living life is just a vestibular therapy almost. There's so many things that we do in our daily lives that everyday people think about doing that is very hard for someone with a vestibular disorder. So yeah, there'll be different topics, and it's just to help you cope and, give everyone hope. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing, and we will give you more information as the time comes. I also how Joy mentioned about support groups and how she and I met actually through a support group. I believe Joy is thinking about launching her own support group. Do you want to just say a couple things about that, Joy?
Yes, yes. I have been so fortunate. I found a support group that meets on Wednesdays. It's actually a Manere support group, but they have me. And we've had some interest in that group for just maybe a meeting that's just an overall general vestibular disorders. And so they meet on Wednesdays. And so I'm going to start mine on Thursdays at 7 Central. And it's just going to be a place for everyone to just come, meet each other, share stories, um, share, maybe you had a bad day, maybe you had a positive day, something you want to share with the group. And I think it'll be interesting, just to meet some new people. And this will give also a later time. I know on our Manere support group, we're kind of during the daytime. So this will be kind of an evening meeting. And I'm sure, as we get going, we'll have guests and topics. And, for me, the support groups were a game changer to actually talk to someone who has our symptoms, who
Yes.
knows, you can say, because I know even we've done it with each other, the brain
Yes.
scramble, the rocking, and we kind of know what those are. I'm like, "Ah, I never thought of that word before." So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
excited. And I think both of us becoming VeDA ambassadors has helped. And
Definitely.
it's exciting to kind of start this off on Balance Awareness Week. So thank you, everybody.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And we will have more information to come. But thank you. And we are wishing you balance and health in your day. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And
Bye.
find joy in your journey.
Yes. Thank you.